This is an analytic that will help you to answer question as what has happened based on historical data. One should be available to guide and take you through the path of uncertainty and make things certain. So somebody is there, it's available for you to show you light at the end of the tunnel. The desktops, the service and the mobile apps are created in such a way so that the people can share and relate their business insights wherever they are located across the geography. Good morning and welcome to the first session, Chapter 7, Unit 1, third semester B.Ca, Artificial Intelligence, where we're going to speak about data analytics print. Now, data analytics is such a wonderful subject. It's the science of analyzing raw data to make conclusion about that information. So probably everybody in this world wants more information, more specific information about every single thing that we look around. These days, when we talk about an Instagram reel and some messages are going to come out, people are not just going to believe your reels unless and until it's supported by fact, it's supported by the data. So data analytics forms the center of the information facts today. So this is definitely going to be a subject of great interest for all of us. Followed by data analysis is the process of identifying, cleaning, transforming and modeling data to discover meaningful and useful information. So when you go through the line itself, you will be able to understand, I'm not just going to pick up data just like that. I'm going to identify it. I'm going to clean the data, which means I'm going to remove the unwanted things. I'm going to transform it, model the data so that I get a meaningful information. Now, when you look into this entire analyzing, there are certain core components for us to understand. One being the descriptive, the second being the diagnostic, third being predictive, prescriptive, cognitive. Just look at those 5 factors. Very, very interesting factors as we are speaking about today. So we start with the descriptive factor, we go with the diagnostic, we go with the predictive, prescriptive, and the cognitive factor. Now, as we go about, let's start with the descriptive here. This is an analytic that will help you to answer question as what has happened based on historical data. So descriptive is more about analyzing, going back into the time factor, trying to understand what has happened till now. How it has happened, what are all the reasons behind it. So whenever people talk about history, the most interesting factor about history is that going back and asking this question to yourself, how did it actually happen? Who made it happen? What was the reason behind it? And that is the descriptive analysis. So it contains certain techniques that summarizes large sets to describe the outcome. So probably if I'm going to talk about what exactly happened in the year 2022 or 21 regarding certain factors about management, about economics, or about any other subject, I'm going to use this descriptive analysis, which is going to give out a complete analysis to the people, making them understand the chronology of events and what are the outcomes. Followed by diagnostic. The word diagnostic is very, very common to all of us because this looks to us like a medical term. So whenever we have been to a hospital or to a doctor for health reason, the word diagnostic is quite common and well known to us. This is a kind of analytics that will help you to answer question about why events happened. So whenever we go back to our health issues, what is very interesting for all of us is that we believe that we are sound, we are pink in health. We always believe that everything is working fine internally and externally. But God forbid, if something happens to any one of us, we go back trying to ask this question in the mind, why did it happen to me? Why did it happen in this particular manner? I was taking care of my body very well. So the answer to the question why comes from diagnostic. It is a technique that is used to find out from the descriptive to discover the cause of these events. So the cause and effect, that's the most interesting factor here. So whenever I say the cause and effect, this is where we will be able to understand how things came into picture, how things became worse, how things can be recovered back. All those factors the answer comes from diagnostic analytics. Generally, this process occurs in 3 steps. What are those 3 steps as we are speaking about? Identify the anomalies of data. These anomalies might be expected changes in a metric or in a particular market, no doubts about it. Collect data that is related to the anomaly. So automatically you will start collecting data. You will start finding out how things are happening, why this is happening, why do we need to be cautious about it, what could have been the reasons, supportive data primarily, and then use a statistical data or a technique to find out the relationship between that particular event and the incident altogether. Followed by which, let's get into the predictive. This is very, very interesting. Why? Because this will help you to answer questions about what will happen in the future. Now, everybody likes to talk about tomorrow. Nobody wants to talk about today, or nobody wants to talk about the past, because these two things are pretty much done. But when somebody comes back and asks you this question, what's going to be the movement of stock market in the month of February 2024? And if you're able to predict it right, then probably you would be able to make millions out of it. Now, that's exactly what happens here. The predictive analysis, you are able to guide, tell people about the future. So you're going to provide certain valuable insight into what might happen, and how do you get that substantial data that you have collected, worked it out with your statistical tool, you have provided insights, you have given reasons for why that shift or movement in data will happen. So that's where we bring in this statistical technique and we use this predictive analysis. Now, followed by which prescriptive. Now, this word prescription is also very, very familiar to all of us. Again, going back to our health standards, we've all been people who have used this prescription. But when I use that word prescriptive analysis, it answers question which action should be taken to achieve the goal or target. So whenever a doctor gives you a prescription, he mainly tries to tell you about what kind of medicine you need to take at what time. Most of us understand that in order to get well soon, we just take medicines randomly. But that's not going to help you to recover fast. If you want to recover and you want to come out in a steady manner, there are certain steps that need to be followed. So that's exactly where prescriptive analytics comes into picture, because this allows the businesses to make informed decision in face of uncertainty. So one should be available to guide and take you through the path of uncertainty and make things certain. So somebody is there, it's available for you to show you light at the end of the tunnel. That's exactly where prescriptive analytics comes into picture. So you would be able to learn from the machine learning, basically to find patterns in large data set. Of course, you would also analyze the past decisions that are taken. Organizations can estimate the likelihood chances of what can happen. So you have a past, present, and future combination in the prescriptive, and that's very much important for the businesses today, because then only they can be able to make meaningful decisions. Followed by which the cognitive, which is the word itself is quite interesting. Why? Because this is going to talk about how you're going to handle the situations. Now, whenever we talk about cognitive analytics, this tries to attempt to draw inferences from existing data and patterns, derive conclusions based on existing databases, and add the findings. So cognitive has got more to do with psychology, with reasoning, with finding out how those factors, how things can happen, where it is happening, and all those things. So this is more about behavioral statistics, if I have to talk about to you. Now, this kind of cognitive analytics is normally used in order to study the wave patterns, the change in behavior, the informative standards, how it is happening, and where people are getting involved with them. So this is where it comes from an existing database. So most point of time, cognitive is something which is an implicit knowledge which is already kept. It's something which is very, very easily found there, and we are using it in order to build that system. Now, what are the roles in data? You can be a business analyst, which means you would be working in order to find out data sets, and then data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, and database administrator. So there are a whole lot of roles that are available in market by studying data analytics and data science. because this is going to take you to the next role. So definitely I would recommend all the students out here that if you can invest your time, money and energy in terms of studying data science, definitely a bright future stands open up for you, because there are many roles which market is seeking in terms of giving you opportunities in big companies. Now, a business analyst is going to be very close to the business, where it's going to interpret the data that comes from visualization. A business analyst is confined to their business. He helps to identify solution. Now, a business analyst is also a person who has the process, interprets how it is happening, identifies the business area, and he also will be able to ensure the business efficiency. So this is more of a functional role where you will try to understand how the business is working and where exactly we have to provide solutions so that you can increase the efficiency and at the same time manage the productivity. Plus, being a business analyst, you will also understand the process, the inputs, and all the variations that are involved in the system. Now, let's go in for a data analyst. A data analyst is a very particular thing. Why? Because he collects, cleans, and interprets the data, builds an effective data model, and he's a person who's responsible for the Power BI assets. That's a build analysis, the Power Builder altogether. Is a very, very skilled professional because he is going to talk about certain particular sets, and a data analysis will also work with the relevant stakeholders to identify an appropriate necessary data that's required. So this becomes certain specific role where we are going to talk about what is exactly needed in terms of the data building exercise altogether. Followed by the data engineer. Moment I bring in the word engineer, does it become technical? Absolutely yes, that is technical. Why? Because these people are going to work on the cloud, they're going to work on certain databases, and they're going to work on certain programming platforms. They're going to bring into some technical functionalities. They're going to work on the data pipelines that are coming from different sources. They're going to manage and secure the flow of structured and unstructured data. They're going to collaborate with different stakeholders to identify how data can be structured, can be fit into the system so that it can work according to the nature and need. Now, followed by a scientist. Now, this is a big name that anybody would like to go on with, because we all know that scientist is something who's involved with innovation, is a kind of a very, very serious personality who's always involved in the lab. Now, let's try to understand. Yeah, the data scientists are also people who work on issues representing, they work on to give new solutions. They use a lot of statistical method, data visualization is also there. And the most important thing is they are focused on developing new tools and methods to extract information. So this is more of an innovative role where you have to spend time in terms of analyzing how things are happening in terms of the business. Followed by which database administrator, very, very common role that we are seeing today, because this person works in terms of maintaining, securing the data, and this person is also responsible for the overall system management. Followed by which the task that we are finding out, of course, the most important thing I would like to concentrate is prepare, model it out, visualize, analyze, and manage. So these are all the tasks of the database analyst. He has to find out the data, prepare it, model the data here, visualize it, get it ready to the minds of the people, analyze the entire data, what are the plus and minus, manage it using the Power Builder, and give it to the stakeholders. Now, Microsoft Power Builder, which is a collection of software services and apps that work together to turn all the unrelated sources into an interactive thing. So it's a collection of software and tools that enables business to analyze complex information. It is very fast and capable. The most important thing, it can bring data back into the desktop and create a report. It can be used to any kind of visualization, share the dashboards, make it even more interactive. Now, this is the flow of the database. So you have the database here. It can get transferred here. You will be able to see what are all the key influences. Where is the service module? What are all the key stakeholders? Where is the market moving? All the data can be shared. And this also has a mobile app so that you can have the data on go. The parts of BI, we know that we have a desktop, that's a specialized application, the BI service provider, that's a software as a service, and the mobile apps that are available on Windows and as well as for the iOS. So the desktops, the service and the mobile apps are created in such a way so that the people can share and relate their business insights wherever they are located across the geography. Now, building up blocks are the visualization, the data sets, reports, dashboards, and tiles. All these things are mandatory. Why? Because they help in terms of building up the entire Power Builder exercise. Now, when you look into visualization, it's nothing but the chart. So you will be able to see using the chart how good we are able to see the entire data in one screenshot, followed by the data set. So you will be able to see the data sets, a collection of data combination which includes day, date, month, birth, year, everything put together in one common factor. The reports, which is very, very important because that's going to be the important asset that's going to be recorded, kept in the system. So whenever you want, you can take the report and analyze it. Followed by the dashboards, which is if you want to share the report with somebody, like a common feature, everybody will have an access to it. Yes, that's a common collection that you have. A dashboard is a single page through which you can call it also a canvas. You will get all the reports, all the data entity reported there. Anybody can look into it and access it so that they have a first-hand knowledge of the product. Followed by the tiles. Tiles are something which you would see that you can see the category here, market share, volume, each one of them, like how you touch on your mobile phone. There are tiles located which will give you the information as and when on the go. With this, I come to the end of the artificial intelligence units and these sessions all about. I hope and believe that all the important data and the facts that you have spoken about will help you both in practical as well as in the theoretical part of the examination. In all these sessions, I would have given you input about what is data, how is AI being used, and what are the different features. So I believe that all of you will make a good use of it, study it thoroughly, and make the best use in your upcoming examination. So all the best to my students who are appearing for the artificial intelligence examination. Make the best use of this data and the presentation so that you can score well in the exam. Thank you once again for joining me on this wonderful session.